Fireworks in the sky, but the truth's still buried underground. Royal low, yeah. They told me, wave the flag while the chains still clank. Told me praise the names on the blood-soaked banks. Told me freedom was born in the room full of men who wrote liberty down while they own human skins. The fucking founding fathers and the myths they made. I don't pledge to the lie, I don't kneel to the page. You can light up the sky, I remember the smoke from the fields, from the ships, from the necks in the rope. You call it independence, I call it selective. You call it patriotic, I call it protective. Other stories so fragile it cracks when questioned. Truth knocks once and they call it aggression. Yeah. Red for the blood they spill, white for the lies they told, blue for the bruises left on the bodies they sold. Don't ask me to celebrate what never included mine. I came with the receipts, I came to redraw the line. Fuck your founding fathers, I don't owe them praise. They built a nation on our backs, then told us smile through the pain. Fuck your founding fathers, let the fireworks cry. This ain't freedom for the people, if the truth still gotta hide. Yeah, no justice, no peace, no lie gets crowned. We don't worship old ghosts when the roots scream loud. Fuck your founding fathers. On the 4th of July, I'm lighting up the truth while they light up the sky. They say, look how far we came, I say look what it cost. Every courthouse got a shadow, every victory got lost. They gave statues to the takers, made heroes out of thieves. Put their faces on the money while the hungry couldn't breathe. Don't lecture me on freedom from a stolen land stage. Don't quote old documents with blood on the page. Don't tell me be grateful for a seat at the table when my people built the room and got treated unstable. You can't buy me through the truth, you can dress it in stars, but the anthem still echoes like chains behind bars. I don't hate the people, I hate the disguise. I hate when the guilty get praised as the wise. Red for the blood they spill, white for the lies they told, blue for the bruises left on the bodies they sold. Don't ask me to celebrate what never included mine. I came with the receipts, I came to redraw the line. Fuck your founding fathers, I don't owe them praise. They built a nation on our backs, then told us smile through the pain. Fuck your founding fathers, let the fireworks cry. This ain't freedom for the people, if the truth still gotta hide. No justice, no peace, no lie gets crowned. We don't worship old ghosts when the roots scream loud. Fuck your founding fathers. On the 4th of July, I'm lighting up the truth while they light up the sky. Don't call it hate when the wound speaks back. Don't call it division when our name was fact. Don't call it progress while the system still bites. Don't call it freedom if we still gotta fight. I'm not here for comfort, I'm not here to pretend. I'm here for the children who deserve better than them. Better than myths, better than chains, better than flags used to cover up pain. So this one's for the ancestors who never got rest, for the names never written but who gave us their best, for the mothers who prayed, for the fathers who ran, for the babies born fighting in the stolen man's plan. This is not disrespect, this is correction. This is not rebellion, this is resurrection. You can keep your parade, I keep speaking the truth. I don't need permission to remember my roots. Royal oak in the soil, truth in the flame. If the crown came with silence, then I don't want the name. But if the crown means standing when the whole world falls, then I'm 10 toes down till the real story's told. Fuck your founding fathers, I don't owe them praise. They built a nation on our backs, then told us smile through the pain. Fuck your founding fathers, let the fireworks cry. This ain't freedom for the people, if the truth still gotta hide. No justice, no peace, no lie gets crowned. We don't worship old ghosts when the roots scream loud. Fuck your founding fathers. On the 4th of July, lighting up the truth while they light up the sky. Fireworks fade, but the truth don't die. Royal low, 4th of July. Not your midnight, not your lie, not your version of my life.
All right, hello everyone. Thanks for tuning back in once again to the original Queen Ahmadiyyah Shakur show. I'm your host, Queen Ahmadiyyah Shakur, and this is your morning or your Saturday morning wake up call. So as you're coming in, please feel free to go ahead and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Be sure to click that notification bell and click the word all so you're notified each time the Queen Goddess goes live. Okay, so let's see who's in here. We got Nalin, Desmond, Yvonne, Irma, Nessa G is here. All right. Charlene, Nita's and Mike's World, Chris B, Greta Lee, Barbara. Okay, let's get into it. Let's get into it. That Crazy Beach Aries, Danny J. All right. Smurfat is here. Okay, Youngest Turnip, Shannon. The Lounge. All right. Sexy One, Dark Tube, Fair Use One. T1V. Okay, let's get into it. Truth Brown is here. Jerron, Mel, Barbara. Okay, so shout out to all of my loyal worlds and everyone tuned into the Queen. I see you, LaShondra, songwriter Sunny, Sheila. Okay, let's get it popping. Okay, so before we get into it, let's have a brief word from my sponsor. I see you, Betty Boop, Renee. Okay, let's have a brief word from my sponsor at 12 Tribes. Here we go. Mrs. Poochie is here.
Do not buy 12 Tribes on Earth hair growth oil and hair magic elixir unless you want super healthy, gorgeous hair that grows. They have a whole line of amazing hair growth products, including hair growth leave-in conditioner spray, hair growth shampoo, hair growth spray, and hair growth butter. I'm starting to sense a theme here. They include quality natural ingredients. They smell amazing, and you can see the results for yourself. So if you're looking for healthy hair growth for your natural or relaxed hair, try 12 Tribes on Earth today.
All right. So don't forget you can purchase 12 Tribes hair oil at Etsy.com. Just look for Lisa Crafts. You can also find her products at Walmart.com. And don't forget that she also sells beard oil. Now, with that all being said, let's get ready to get into it. Yesterday was a very eventful day as far as I was concerned with the Carmelo Anthony situation, all that information that came out on Austin and his brother. Absolutely nefarious. Okay, so anyway, we're going to be covering that on Monday because hopefully Carmelo is going to get a second trial. Now, with that all being said, let's talk about the DA of Jackson County because I myself have several questions. Okay, I have several questions, and here's why. First of all, I find it very interesting that the DA has been very quiet about the information that's been going on. And also, she basically has said that, the procedure, the way they do things is that the information is gathered, they do the investigation, and then they take their findings and deliver it to the grand jury for the grand jury to make a decision on whether or not they're going to indict anyone and then come the arrest after. Now, I told you all that basically, I told you all weeks ago she was misleading the public, okay? Because the fact of the matter is, yeah, that is what happens, but that's the last part of it, not the first part, okay? So if someone took someone's life, are we supposed to think that they're not going to be arrested only until the grand jury says so? Of course not. That makes no sense, okay? And so she's really playing with semantics. That's what she's doing, and I want to know why, because I'm going to show you all proof that she's absolutely lying. Okay, she's been lying, saying that, oh, we can't release this stuff, basically acting like she doesn't want to compromise the investigation and that she doesn't have the ability. As a matter of fact, I'm just going to go to her exact words. Okay, I'm going to go to her exact words. Likes up, everyone, please like and share. Thank you in advance. Let's get into it. Jackson County DA pushes back in Nolan Wells' death probe as family demands answers. Now, this is from the 18th of August. Jackson County District DA Angel Myers McElrath is pushing back against criticism from attorneys representing the family of Nolan Wells, saying legal and ethical rules limit what she can publicly disclose about the ongoing investigation into the 18-year-old's death. Now, here's the thing. I would imagine there are a lot of things that they want to keep to themselves. They don't want to just put out in the public when you have an ongoing investigation. That makes sense. But at the end of the day, there are also things that you absolutely can tell and reveal. And that would include, but not limited to, the autopsy. She could give us the autopsy results. They could be released to the public if she wants to. Okay, please pay attention. Now, and I'm going to show you that. Now, with that all being said, and also in cases like this, usually they would hold a press conference. Okay, and usually there will be updates. Now, of course, they're not going to give us all of the information we should expect them to, but to at least keep us abreast of what's going on, and if not us, at least the family. Now, how is it that the family, it can barely get in touch with them to find out any updates or whatever? Okay, so anyway, in a statement released Tuesday, McElrath said prosecutors do not have the same freedom as private individuals to discuss evidence, witness cooperation, or other details tied to an active investigation. McElrath said she cannot publicly identify which information has been verified or deemed false, and cautioned the public against drawing conclusions based on information shared online, saying the fact that something is said does not necessarily mean it's actually true. Well, we all know that we should know it. That's common sense. Okay, that's common sense. The only person who doesn't seem to believe that or know that is Rage Batum Tap Dancing Tatum, because anything that Warren Jacks or Seymour or Morgan Seymour says, he seems to act like that's the gospel truth, and that it's true just because they said it, even though they've not shown any receipts. Now, anyway, it goes on to say her comments come after attorneys representing Wells's family accused the district attorney's office of not operating in good faith as the investigation continues. Now, part of the dispute, it centers on a forensic examination of Wells's cell phone. Attorneys for the family have said Wells's parents remain willing to make the cell phone available for a joint forensic examination. Okay, I'm going to stop right there, because we already know that they tried to paint the narrative that the family wasn't cooperating, when in fact they're the ones not cooperating. McElrath said her responsibility is to protect the integrity of the investigation and the grand jury process, even amid growing public pressure for more information. She said releasing additional details publicly could interfere with the legal process or violate her ethical obligations as a prosecutor, saying that my obligation and commitment is to present the grand jury with all evidence collected in this case in order for them to reach a decision based on a thorough investigation, complete evidence, presentation, the actual truth, and an understanding of the law. McElrath also asked the public to allow investigators and prosecutors to complete their work rather than pressuring her office to release information she says cannot legally be disclosed. Okay, she said her office intends to present the grand jury with a thorough, complete, and fair investigation into Wells's death. Wells disappeared. Okay, we know the rest. Now, here's the thing. Like I said, she's full of crap, okay? She is full of BS, because she absolutely could have released the autopsy report. She could be giving us updates and all of that. So let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. Because I did some digging. Y'all know I'm always researching about these people to see what they're lying about, what they've got hidden in their backgrounds and all of that. Okay, so let's get into it. Likes up, everyone, please like and share. Let me just pull up my receipts. Okay, so here's what I did. I went digging, and I found a case. Hold on. I'm on the wrong thing. Hold on, beloveds. Hold on. Wrong receipt. Okay, here we go. Now, so I found a case not that long ago at all. And I'm comparing this to Nolan's case, okay? Because it was the case where, because what her argument is if it's a mysterious death and they don't know how the person died, then they wouldn't immediately make arrests. They would take everything to the grand jury. Okay, well, here's the thing. When District Attorney Angel Myers McElrath addresses the public's questions about the death of Nolan Wells, one message has remained consistent. Wait for the investigation and wait for the grand jury. Now, McElrath has explained that virtually every death in Jackson County, other than natural deaths and non-criminal automobile accidents, is ultimately presented to a grand jury. Now, she has also said that Mississippi's professional conduct rules restrict what prosecutors can publicly reveal during an active investigation. Nolan's official autopsy has therefore been withheld from the public while investigators complete their work and prepare the evidence for the grand jury. Now, more recently, McElrath went even further. She said she cannot publicly discuss such things as witness cooperation, evidence testing, which information investigators have verified, or which information they believe is false. She said publicly filling that information void, filing that information void, or I'm sorry, I should have on my glasses. Filling that information void would mean stepping outside the bounds of her legal and ethical obligations. Those are serious concerns, and prosecutors absolutely have an obligation to protect an investigation. But that raises an equally serious question. Does protecting an investigation require withholding virtually everything? Because like I told you all, of course, I don't expect her to be able to give us all of the details and every little thing that she knows and has, but there are certain things that she absolutely could tell us about, and the autopsy report is something she could release. So because Jackson County's own history gives us an interesting comparison, let's talk about it. Dustin Lee Suttles. Now, this is a case that had happened September the 22nd, 2020. 29-year-old Dustin Lee Suttles was found floating in the Pascagoula River near the Roy Cumbus Bridge in Jackson County. Now, his body was identified the following day and sent for an autopsy. The autopsy was performed on September the 24th, and Jackson County authorities did not tell the public. Now, they didn't tell the public. They said, we can't tell you what the autopsy showed because this death has to be presented to a grand jury. Now, instead, authorities publicly announced the preliminary autopsy findings, that Dustin Suttles was the victim of a homicide. So they did give the preliminary autopsy information, and they even told the people that it was deemed a homicide. Now, she hasn't done any of that. She didn't give us any preliminary. She didn't give us any details, didn't say whether or not they think it's still nothing to see her, folks, and no evidence of foul play, or whether they're investigating a homicide. But the thing is, if there was no evidence of foul play, why are they still investigating? Because what's left to investigate? And especially after they've already had the autopsy report and the toxicology reports completed. But anyway, I digress. So this wasn't information released after the trial. It wasn't information released after an indictment. It was preliminary autopsy information released while the homicide investigation was still ongoing. It was still underway. So what is she talking about? What is she talking about? And there's another important piece too. Authorities didn't necessarily wait for a grand jury before taking someone into custody. That's another thing that she lied about, or shall I say, at the very least, she misled the public. Joseph Paul McLeod was arrested and charged with capital murder in connection with Suttles' death. Other arrests followed, including Taylor Allen Carpenter, on an accessory after the fact charge. Now, eventually, 4 people were charged in connection with Suttles' death. I believe Suttles was white. And, in case anybody's wondering, yes, that does seem to make a difference in Mississippi. So because white people are not just coming up dead in water and people are saying it's accidental and no foul play. That's what they're not doing. That's my point. So Jackson County has previously demonstrated 2 things. An active death investigation does not automatically mean authorities can release absolutely no information about an autopsy. So she's being disingenuous. Now, the fact that a death will ultimately go before a grand jury does not necessarily prevent law enforcement from making an arrest beforehand when investigators believe probable cause exists. Haven't I been telling you all this for weeks? Haven't I been telling you all this? That all they need is probable cause, and they have plenty of it to have made arrests of multiple people, in my opinion. Now, the second point becomes particularly interesting because of what former Mississippi prosecutor Sean Yukaran said, or Yurtkaran. Now, what he said in an interview recently that I was privy to, just so happened to be reading it, he said that in fact, if they had evidence, hold on, did I put that up here to show you all on the screen? Anyway, the bottom line is, if they had evidence, they could absolutely have someone in custody. Okay. Now, he spent approximately 10 years as the assistant DA in Hinds County. Now, when he was asked about the Nolan Wells investigation, he made an important distinction between the medical findings and the surrounding investigation. He explained that investigators cannot determine whether a drowning is accidental or homicidal simply by the postmortem examination. Didn't I tell you all that as well? Because I said, there's a manner of death and a cause of death. There has to be independent evidence that helps establish what exactly happened or what actually happened. Now, that means investigators have to look beyond the body. They have to look at the timeline, look at witnesses. They have to examine communications. They have to examine phones and digital evidence. They have to examine boats and GPS information. They have to examine what people said at the time and determine whether those accounts are consistent with the physical and electronic evidence. And Yurtkaran made perhaps his most important observation when, according to him, he said, if authorities discover evidence showing that Nolan was murdered, he would not have to wait, or they would not have to wait for a grand jury indictment before making an arrest. Didn't I tell y'all that? Okay, I told y'all long ago that she was not being honest about that because, like I said, she's trying to put the cart before the horse. She's trying to make it seem as though, oh yeah, we can't do anything until this is all done. That's not the truth. The grand jury process is the last portion, not the first. So this is what the former assistant DA even said. Okay. The grand jury can determine whether probable cause exists to indict someone after hearing evidence presented by prosecutors, but an arrest can occur earlier when law enforcement independently develops sufficient probable cause. And we have already seen an example of that principle operating in Jackson County, and that is with the Dustin Suttles incident, where he was found in water. An autopsy was then performed. Authorities publicly disclosed that preliminary autopsy findings indicated a homicide. Okay, a murder suspect was then arrested, and then someone who was an accessory after the fact was arrested. By the time you knew, there was 4 people in custody. And the investigation continued. Now, those facts do not prove that Nolan was murdered, of course. I'm not saying that. But they do prove that McElrath is being disingenuous and improperly withholding information. And my question is why? If nobody did anything, nobody's trying to cover up anything, and you're being honest, and you're trying to follow the letter of the law, and you don't want your office to look bad, and you don't want to lose public trust and have people looking at you suspiciously, then why aren't you being transparent and releasing the information that you can release, whatever that may be? She's not doing that. And so there's a very good reason, in my opinion, because she's involved in the cover-up. Mind you, that's speculation. I can't prove it. That's exactly what I think. Now, if Jackson County could tell the public that an autopsy indicated homicide in the Suttles investigation, while that case was still active, why is virtually nothing from Nolan's official autopsy being disclosed before the grand jury sees it? Okay, and perhaps the even bigger question for me is, if investigators develop probable cause that someone committed a crime against Nolan, would authorities act immediately, or would they still insist that everybody must wait for the grand jury? Let's make that make sense. Wouldn't that person likely be a danger to society? So we just want them walking around unchecked while they're gathering stuff to get to the grand jury? Like, that's crazy. Because according to Yurtkaran, they don't have to wait. The grand jury process and the power to make an arrest are not the same thing. And the distinction absolutely matters. Okay, please pay attention. The public should not assume that secrecy means wrongdoing. Prosecutors have legitimate reasons to protect evidence, witnesses, and potential future proceedings. But transparency and investigative integrity are not necessarily mutually exclusive. Jackson County itself has previously released limited but extremely important information during an active homicide investigation without publicly revealing every piece of evidence. So perhaps the question isn't whether the public is entitled to see the entire Nolan Wells investigative file before the grand jury, because clearly it isn't. But the more precise question is, why does that particular investigation or this particular investigation require such a level of secrecy that appears to be much greater than what Jackson County has used in at least some of the previous death investigations? Okay, that's the question that I want the ultimate answer to. What do you all think? I mean, definitely seems like she's part of the cover up. Okay, I think she absolutely is part of the cover up, and here's why. Let me just say this. Likes up, everyone, please like and share. And like I said, here's the thing. Now, I don't know why she's withholding the information or why she doesn't want to come out or whatever, but I think it's because she's protecting, okay, people. I think that there's some people that she's protecting. And we're going to get into that in a second. But before I start with all my speculation, let me just read my disclaimer. Views, opinions, allegations, and accusations expressed by guests, third parties, or commenters are their own and do not necessarily reflect the views of the original Queen Ahmadiyyah Shakur show. Content is presented for commentary, discussion, reporting, and educational purposes. Discussion of an allegation does not mean the allegation is true or endorsed by this channel. All persons are presumed innocent unless proven guilty in a court of law. Okay, and that includes my own accusations, that they're not to be taken as facts. Now, grand jury secrecy does not appear to mean that every fact collected during a criminal investigation automatically becomes secret simply because prosecutors eventually intend to present a case to a grand jury. Okay, Mississippi's grand jury rule specifically protects things such as the proceedings themselves, witness identifications, testimony before the grand jury, deliberations, and information and indictments. Okay, so like I said, there's reasons why the prosecutor, the DA, wouldn't want to put out certain things involved in the cover-up. And I'm not saying she is. I'm just saying these are some reasons. Protecting someone that is supposedly involved, protecting witnesses. If witnesses haven't been told that what investigators know, investigators can compare their independent accounts. Okay, publicly revealing evidence can contaminate later interviews, so you don't want to do that because this is how you can catch people in lies. So I get that part of it, but all this other stuff, she's just smoke and mirrors. Also, they could be protecting evidence that the investigators haven't finished testing. And there's different things, like I said, but some of the stuff she absolutely could be giving us. Now, I'm going to say this also. One of the main reasons that I also feel that she has something to hide is because of this. Now, listen to this. So, just a few days ago, okay, an activist group asked her some questions, and here's what they said. We have the following questions in reference to Jackson County DA Angel McElrath, given her apparent unwillingness to demonstrate respect and transparency with her constituents regarding the hashtag Nolan Wells investigation. Now, these questions are important in evaluating whether or not she may be too conflicted personally, professionally, and or politically to effectively, professionally, and ethically oversee this investigation. Does DA McElrath have a personal relationship with any of the parents of the young men who were with Nolan on July the 4th? That's a good question. I'm sure she does. These people all know one another, and I've told you all that. We know the DA also resides in Ocean Springs. Now, Ocean Springs is a small town, and even smaller when we look at the circle of these married and powerful families who typically socialize together, who also know, according to the Jackson County government website, okay, who also know that she is a member of the Jackson County Republican Women's Club, the Biloxi Ocean Springs Junior Auxiliary, and the Duchess Club, all of which are groups where women of Ocean Springs elites and powerful families network. What do y'all have to say about that? See, this is why she's not talking. This is why she's not giving any information out, okay? I believe that she is absolutely, hold on. Listen, let me just tell you all something. I'm going to delete this comment, and I'm going to tell you all this one time only. Be careful of what you put in the Queen's chats. We do not say anything racially disparaging, no matter what your race or ethnic group is. We don't say anything about anyone's race in the chats. That's what we don't do. Now, the first time I see it, I'm going to delete your comment. The next time you'll be putting a timeout. And after that, if you continue, well, you'll just have to go. Now, I'm just telling you all that. Okay, so please be respectful to everyone. Thank you. Now, with that all being said, she's friends with a lot of these high-powered, high-profile women and their husbands and other people as well. Now, does D.A. McElrath's professional connection to the stepmother of one of the young men, Jackson County Chancery Court Judge Ashley Cole, present a potential conflict of interest? Of course it does. Ethically and professionally, should a DA recuse herself from an investigation involving the child of one of her professional colleagues? Yes. She should have recused herself, okay, at the end of the day. Now, this is all important because this is why I don't think there's any transparency. This is why I think that she's absolutely involved in a cover-up. I think they all are. Now, I can't prove this, but this is exactly what I think. Now, also, let's go to some of the evidence because I've been sitting here telling you all this, but okay, but let's just go to the evidence. Likes up, everyone, please like and share. Let's just pull up the receipts. First receipt I'm going to pull up is from 2020. This update: body found near Ray Cumbers Bridge, now a murder investigation. Okay, just to verify that the story I just told you all about Dustin Suttles, okay, and how they released the preliminary autopsy findings and let everyone know that it was in fact a homicide investigation. See, that's the thing. We don't even know what kind of investigation they're doing on Nolan's case. They haven't said if they still suspect foul play. They haven't said whether they think it's a homicide. They haven't said anything. So we're just left here to speculate, but they don't want to speculate. Make it all make sense. Hold on.
Year-old Dustin Suttles to be a homicide. This is the scene where Suttles was discovered Tuesday afternoon near the Roy Cumbest Bridge. He was actually found in the water by Department of Wildlife and Fisheries workers. He was discovered near another boat, but at that moment, law enforcement officials were unable to determine the owner. They have yet to share with us if they have since determined who the owner of that vessel is. On Wednesday, we learned Suttles' identity and that he is from Gaucher, and that law enforcement was treating the case as foul play until autopsy results came in. Now, we are working to learn more information, including the official cause of death. That information still has not yet been released to the public. But since I arrived here, I've spoken with a few locals. There is some curiousness about what's going on, rumors flying on social media about what could have been the cause of death. I spoke with him. He didn't know any information in particular, but he was very curious about why something like this is happening where he calls home. We're going to, of course, continue to update you as we learn more information in this case that is sure to have more breaking developments in the day.
Okay. Now, that all being said, here's a report. Hold on. Now, autopsy results for Nolan Wells now complete, according to officials. However, this is what the report says. On July the 23rd, the office of the DA, Angel Myers McElrath, confirmed the autopsy report of Nolan Wells' death will be withheld, will be withheld until a grand jury can review it. And then she said, every death in the county except those of natural causes and non-criminal car wrecks is presented to our grand jury. Many people don't know that we have handled death investigations in this manner my entire career. The lies. Okay? The lies. So that has not been the case down there in Ocean Springs, all right, at the end of the day. And, you know, she is friends with these people, all right? This is why that group was asking her about it. Also, let's talk about other cases where they've had similar situations where DAs have basically helps criminals to cover up things. And I'm not saying that she's helping anyone to cover up anything. I'm just saying that I think she is. I sure do. So let's talk about it because there are several documented cases in which prosecutors were accused and in some cases convicted even of using their authority to protect wrongdoers, to suppress evidence, to obstruct investigations or conceal crimes. Okay, one especially useful example is the Thomas Spada case in Suffolk County, New York, where prosecutors provided or proved an actual institutional cover up. Former DA Thomas Spada, Suffolk County, New York. He served as a Suffolk County District Attorney for many years. Okay, federal prosecutors ultimately charged him with participating in a scheme to protect Suffolk County Police Chief James Burke after Burke assaulted a handcuffed prisoner. According to the U.S. Department of Justice, Spada and Christopher McPortland who headed the DA's office Government Corruption Bureau used their position to obstruct an FBI investigation and federal grand jury proceedings in order to protect Burke. The evidence presented at the trial was striking. Prosecutors said the people within this circle, a circle, didn't I already tell you all the other day that Judge Ashley Cole has a very elite, powerful circle around her for protection? All of these people work together in concert and unison. So, anyway, prosecutors said people within this circle use intimidation and threats to pressure witnesses to withhold information, refuse to cooperate with investigators, and lie under oath. Sounds like what's probably going on down there in Ocean Springs. And that's exactly what happened down there in Frisco, Texas with the Carmelo Anthony trial. So all I'm saying is these things happen all the time, every day, and twice on Sundays. So it's nothing unusual. And we should not be sitting here, feeling guilty or being trying to have people, maggots specifically, trying to blame and shame us because we have questions and because we don't trust the judicial process. Now, the DA's Government Corruption Bureau even became involved in handling the victim's case in what prosecutors described as an attempt to control information and conceal what happened. This sounds exactly like what's going on here. Spada was convicted. So this isn't merely a theory that somebody had connections with the DA, but a federal jury found that a sitting district attorney's office had been used to protect a powerful law enforcement official and obstruct investigators. And this is what happens when you have rich and powerful elite people. In this case, it was a powerful investigator, but in Ocean Springs, they have plenty of powerful people. But hold on, let's talk about another case, and I'm sure you know this one a whole lot better. This one is the case of Ahmaud Arbery, allegations against DA Jackie Johnson. Remember when I was reporting on this? After Ahmaud Arbery was killed in Georgia in February of 2020, former Brunswick Judicial Circuit District Attorney Jackie Johnson was indicted. Remember that? Now, Georgia prosecutors allege that she abused her position to assist Greg McMichael, a former investigator in her office who was one of the men subsequently convicted in Arbery's killing. Prosecutors allege that Johnson hindered the investigation and favored McMichael. But there's an extremely important distinction. Johnson was not convicted for participating in the cover-up. Her 2025 trial ended with the charges being dismissed. Okay, I don't know how she pulled that off. Probably because of the people that she knew and the connections. The judge said prosecutors had failed to produce evidence showing that she instructed police not to arrest the men. She told them not to arrest those men. Trust and believe. Now, there are more that I could go through, but I think that that's enough to to give you the point. So the bottom line is that's exactly what I think is going on right now. Okay? It's exactly what I think is going on right now because she's not giving us anything and then coming out trying to scold us as if we don't have any business even asking questions. Okay, make that make sense. And then another thing. DA says Nolan Wells case evidence will stay sealed. Now, why do they need to seal the evidence? Why would they need to seal the evidence? Like this is all given sketchy. Okay, the evidence is going to stay sealed. That's a report from the Clarion Ledger. So anyway, like I said, they're just doing the most. They're doing the absolute most. Likes up, everyone, please like and share. Thank you in advance. Now, with that all being said, let's talk about Tatum for a second. Hold on. Let's go to this interview. Hold on. Oh, we need to go to News Nation right now. What happened to Nolan Wells? A legal perspective, Cuomo. Hold on. Is this on right now? Let me see. It looks like he's got that lawyer, Russell Latino, on there again. Yeah, this started 38 minutes ago. Okay, good. Let's see what they're talking about. Chris Cuomo is so sketchy. Okay, he is so sketchy. Why does he keep having this man on the show? Because he's helping them to paint their narrative. Okay, please pay attention. In my opinion.
Yeah. The black guy. You know, you flip it and there's one white guy who goes out with a bunch of black guys, forget it. It'd be all over the place. But now people are wrong to want to know what happened. There's a lot to this that becomes a burden on the system, but also just proof of watching it. The overlay, the cultural overlay of this is Mississippi. If you flip the color ratio, everybody would be taking it seriously. But now everybody's being too sensitive. That's not fair, especially in this place and with this population. And that is really all that matters is what happens when that grand jury makes its final assessment.
I think that the idea of submitting this to the grand jury, I think Angel has the DA here has a protocol where she submits every death that is not a natural cause death, a car wreck, a heart attack, you know, to a grand jury, in part because she wants to be sure that this is a process of integrity. And so I do think a lot of people are probably reading into that.
Now, isn't it ironic? I want you all to pay attention. Isn't it ironic that I literally just got done talking about that, and then here we go. I just see this video, click on it, and there he is saying the same thing, but he's lying. I'm not going to say he's lying. Maybe he just believes what she's saying, but clearly that's not the truth, okay? And he's talking about she's trying to protect the integrity. Let me tell you all something about protecting the integrity of an investigation. First of all, if you're trying to protect the integrity of an investigation, what you wouldn't do is, allow things that have happened that are criminal to go unchecked. For example, Warren admitting that they all were drinking. That's underage drinking. Pictures of grown people handing them beers and no one's arrested. There's nothing been done or said about that. They're not even mentioning it. And by they, I mean Sheriff Ledbetter and the DA. They've not said anything about it. Now, one could say that, oh, they're behind the scenes. They're taking notes of all this. They've got the information, the evidence on it. Well, why hasn't someone been arrested? What are they waiting on? They need to have that go before the grand jury too? No, they don't. So why hasn't anyone been arrested for anything? Okay, I have several questions. So I don't think it's anything to do with her trying to protect the integrity of the investigation, because right now the investigation looks sketchy as hell. Another thing is, it leads me to think that they don't really, of course, I know they don't really want to, but it almost seems as though they're just determined they're not going to do anything to arrest these young men, because as far as the phone is concerned, now they tried to flip the script and make it look as though Nolan's parents didn't want to give them the phone willfully. But even if that were the case, in which it isn't, but even if it had been the case, they could absolutely have filed subpoenas, like Nancy Grace said. But I already said that too. I said they can file subpoenas. You can get warrants. What are you talking about? But why haven't they gotten warrants? Why haven't they gotten warrants? Either they don't think there's anything incriminating in that phone, or even if there is, they're not going to do anything about it. Okay, one of the two, in my opinion. But let's continue.
I wouldn't read much into that either direction.
Yeah, look, ordinarily, I started off as one of them. Why? Because a prosecutor is supposed to have a good faith basis for thinking there may be probable cause in going to a grand jury. If you were to have a dispositive finding that this was a drowning or an accident or whatever, then you don't have a good faith belief that there's probable cause. Then I learned that this DA goes with pretty much everything that doesn't scream heart attack or old age home. And I get it, that you're right. It doesn't mean anything one way or the other, but it does mean that the normal process is not being subverted.
Yeah, no, I think she's following the same protocol and treating this case the same way she treats every case.
And, you know, we'll see. They're not quick processes, but it shouldn't take forever. And I think the sooner that there are answers, the better in this. And as I said to you before, and I will say it again, you are welcome to this platform for any significant advances in your understanding in your case. And I appreciate you taking this opportunity.
Yeah, for having me on. And candidly, thanks just for your fairness in this process. I mean, you know, I think that there are outlets that get clicks and watches by being sensational, by reframing things. And my sense is that you're actually pursuing the truth. And I think that's all anybody could ask, whether we're talking about the Wells Wansley family or whether we're talking about the community or some of the kids that have been, in my view, maligned unfairly without evidence. Like, the truth matters here, and we really appreciate you pursuing it.
Well, look, as the shirt says, I'm different. My business model is this: I'm okay being less successful if there's an integrity to what I'm doing.
Chris Cuomo, he needs to sit down somewhere as far as I'm concerned. Now, here's the thing. Black says warrants mean you have to open up an investigation. The judge is going to want to know why you need a warrant. Well, of course, the judge has to sign off on the warrant, so that's common sense. But the bottom line is there's plenty of reasons why they would need a warrant. First of all, they're conducting a whole investigation and someone is dead. Okay. And then also, there are suspicious things that have happened. There's lies that have been told, inconsistent statements, and whatnot. They have probable cause. That's just a fact. Okay, all you have to get the judge to sign off on the warrant is probable cause that someone did something wrong. Okay, and we already know somebody's dead. And so they absolutely could have gotten a warrant. Absolutely could have gotten a warrant. Okay. Now, with that all being said, let's go to this video where Rage Batum Tap Dancing Tatum. By the way, he has so much to say about Carmelo Anthony, talking about that text message that was years old. But I bet you he didn't say anything about Austin Metcalf and his nefarious brother Hunter and what they did. I bet you he didn't say anything about that. And if he did, he minimized it, I'm sure. I'm so sure. So now he wants to talk about Al Sharpton. As I reported to you all yesterday, Al Sharpton's being sued. It's just so ridiculous. They're not going to get anything out of it. It's just a scare tactic as far as I'm concerned. Okay, Al Sharpton served brutal lawsuit from Nolan Wells' friends. This is what Rage Batum Tap Dancing Tatum is talking about. So let's get into it. I want to hear what he has to say because he always has such disparaging things to say about Black folk. And let's put an overlay on this.
With three white kids come back. There's a blurred story on what happened. Now y'all all hostile and all upset. Didn't have the keys, but then you had the keys. Some about this don't make sense given your history. I want to put a reward up for $50,000 for anybody that could give the information that will lead to an arrest and a conviction in the case.
And are you confident that these young men had nothing to do with it?
Confidence not a strong enough word. In fact, beyond a reasonable doubt is not strong enough. There's a 0% chance that they did anything wrong.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm excited to announce my very first event, Florida section. I want to see you there in September. Warren, Jax, and Morgan. And I don't want to hear none of y'all say that they just asking questions. No, they have put out false information with no evidence against these young boys. And let me tell you this, and I want everybody to be.
Just say this before he goes on his little rant here. If they put out false evidence, why didn't he show that? All he showed right there was Al Sharpton asking questions and then offering a reward. Okay? And I didn't hear one lie or anything defamatory come out of his mouth. Okay, but let's keep listening because Tatum is so ridiculous. Now, I feel like what he said about Nolan having Coca-Cola in his system after the toxicology report was done, I feel like that was defamatory, okay? And at the end of the day, we now know, according to Nancy Grace, that there was nothing in his system. Okay, so there's that.
Be very clear about this. The days of hoodwinking, the days of bludgeoning white people, accusing them of things they didn't do, leveraging the power of the civil rights movement against innocent people. Those days are over. They're over for everybody. I don't care if you black or white or indifferent. If you're going to come out and accuse people based on the color of their skin, your days are numbered. Here it goes. We have the lawsuit. We got.
First of all, I want you all to pay attention to pay attention now. He's the one who's always bringing up race. He literally does it every time. But the maggots are so stupid, they want to sit there and gaslight us as if we're the ones that bring it up. He's the one that brings it up. If y'all want to sit there and run and say these things about white people, first of all, he's been very divisive. He's been very divisive. In the history of the United States, Black people have never been known for just making up lies on white people. It's been the other way around. What about all these Karens who lied on Black men, accusing them of rape? Okay. What about the lie that got Emmett Till killed? And there's been many since then. So what is he talking about? You see how he just twists the facts, paints these fictitious narratives, turns everything around, trying to make us to blame, put us to blame, like we're the ones out here victimizing white people. If it were up to him, he would literally go around the globe spewing the fake narrative that we are the oppressors. And then bludgeoning white people. Exactly, pretty wings. That's the word he used. He uses these inflammatory words in these scenarios. Okay, he is so full of crap, but let's continue.
At the whole entire lawsuit. I don't know if we have it ready for people to view the entire. How many pages is it, Grant?
19 pages.
It's 19 pages long. I'm not going to read all the 19 pages. I'm going to give you a summation of them. Do we have the link for them to actually go and look at all 19 pages?
Not quite yet. We're trying to figure out how to do that appropriately.
By the end of the live stream, we should have a link for you. If you want to go look at the entire document as it is, Sarah Fields, I don't know if you follow her or not. She actually had the initial leak of this, and we have it here for you. We did a summation of it so you don't have to read all that stuff.
I bet him and Sarah Fields are best friends. Eric says Tap Dancing Tatum is a raccoon. Okay. Raccooning for them folks. Yes, that's exactly what he is. And he's a very good one. He's the best raccoon I think anyone could find, beloved. Okay, thank you for insight into the topic and your contributions to the channel. I appreciate your peace, love, and blessings. Talking about Sarah Fields.
But if you want to go read it and verify what we're saying, we'll find a way to present it either through Sarah Fields' link or we'll do a link on our Substack so we can have it all there for you. Let's get to the bottom of it. They're threatening the lawyers. Tyler Cox is threatening to sue not Benjamin Crump, but Al Sharpton. I hope Benjamin Crump is next. But here's some of the synopsis of what it entails, and we put it in a pretty little document for you. And it says, and this is quote, "Unless you comply with the demands set forth in this letter, we will imminently be filing suit against you. Public apology, written retraction is what they're asking for. Delete or correction the disputed statements and preserve evidence for litigation." Next slide. And the defamation claims are centered around, and this is some of the claims are centered around a cell phone. And here's the controversy. This is what is quoted in the document. It says that you lied about where or whether or not you had the cell phone and the keys. And three, everything's erased from the cell phone. And so the allegation is that Al Sharpton had made lies and claims against the boys that they had deleted things from the cell phone, that they hid the keys, and that things were erased.
First of all, let me tell you why this dog ain't gonna hunt. Because he did say that things were deleted from the cell phone, but he never said who. He never specified who. He just said, you said you didn't have the keys. You said you didn't have the phone. And then he said things were deleted from the phone. He didn't say anyone specifically. And here's another thing. How do they know, the lawyer that is, how does he know that Al's even talking about Warren, Jax, and Morgan? Because the funny thing is, Jax and Morgan just recently stepped into the scene. Nobody was talking about them. When Al Sharpton first said those things, I don't even think Morgan and Jax had come out yet. So was he talking about them, or was he talking about Warren, Wyatt, and Bart? Okay, I have several questions. They don't have a case. Ha! And it's so hilarious that this idiot who was a cop for 6 years and still wants to pretend he's one, okay, sitting up here acting so he has some shocking, compelling evidence, and he has nothing. Okay, nothing of the sort.
From the cell phone. The letter says that Sharpton implied a cover-up. Attorneys argue that this point pointed directly at Warren, Jackson, and Morgan. They said that the claim suggested crimes like evidence tampering or worse. Next clip. The letter says that they never touched the cell phone. And in the letter, here are the things that they're contesting that Al Sharpton said, and here are the claims that were made. They did not possess, access, breach, erase, or tamper with Nolan Wells' cell.
Listen, I don't even need to hear any more of this, because here's my thing. That doesn't mean a damn thing. Of course they're going to say that. But do they have proof? You see, here's the thing. Tatum is so ignorant. He is so insidiously obtuse that it is sickening. Okay, he's sitting here acting as though he knows for a fact what these young men are saying is true. He does not. And in fact, they're probably lying just like they've been doing all along. We've caught them in numerous of lies. So with that all being said, here's my point. If they deleted things from the phone, tampered with the phone or evidence and did anything, they're not going to admit that. And why would they? So where's the proof? Where's the proof? If we want to assume that they did something, if we want to accuse them of doing something and they say they didn't do it, where's the proof? How can they prove that they didn't tamper with the phone? They can't prove it. Ha! They can't prove it. That's what they can't do. You know why they can't prove it? Because they had the phone in their possession for hours. They had the phone. They admitted they had the phone in their possession. And when it was turned over to Nolan's mother, there was nothing in it. So I'm sorry, say what? Now, of course, they can say all day that none of them did anything, and maybe they didn't. But guess what? They can't prove it. They absolutely cannot prove that. Okay, so there's your case gone down the drain, because the very thing that you have to prove in defamation is the lie. You have to prove that what the person you're accusing of defaming you have to prove that they lied on you, that they made a false statement, and that they intentionally or negligently made the false statement. And you can't prove that he made a false statement because they can't prove that they didn't delete a damn thing out of that phone and that they didn't tamper with that phone. They cannot prove that. There's no way they can prove it. There's no way. There's no way. There's no way. They can't prove it, fool. And that's why he's stupid. That's why he's stupid. But let's continue. You see, the only way they could possibly have proved that, I mean, there's probably different ways, but the main way they could have proven it is if it was never in their possession. And they could have proven that they never had it in their possession. But because they did have it in their possession for a lengthy amount of time, for hours, all day, it was in their possession. Now, people could say that other people had access to it when it was on the boat. There was many people at Horn Island. Anyone could have messed with it. People could say that. People could say, well, there were so many of them at the house. No one knows which of them, if any of them, messed with it. People could say that. But that's all true. But what's also true is they cannot prove that none of them, neither of them, not a single one of them did anything to that damn phone. Okay, but let's let him cook, because he swears he is.
Phone. They did not lie about the phone or keys, did come forth and contact family, Coast Guard, and law enforcement. Here's another element of what was lied about by Al Sharpton.
I don't know what happened, but I got your history in Mississippi. And the history tells me black boy go out with 3 white kids come back. There's a blurred story on what happened. Now y'all all hostile and all upset. Didn't have the keys, but then you had the keys. Some about this don't make sense given your history. Mm-hmm. And I'm gonna stay on this until we find out what happened. It may be nothing, but we're not gonna leave that up to chance with people that are distorted. We gonna stay on this case.
Now, he didn't make a single allegation. He said it may not be nothing. I want you to pay attention, because here's the thing. Al Sharpton is a very smart man, okay? Do you think Al Sharpton is so obtuse that he would just blatantly defame someone, libel, engage in libel and slander? Of course not. He chooses his words carefully, just as I do. And so with that all being said, they don't have anything They have nothing. They're grasping at straws. So quite frankly, I believe that the reason they're coming after Al right now at this point is because they're very upset. You see, when Christine dropped that bombshell, okay, those subpoenas, when they found out she was going to subpoena CETO and Ward Marine Services, they started scrambling. They started scrambling. Everyone is very concerned and worried because they know that the truth's going to come out. They know this, okay? And so now they just want revenge, in my opinion. Now, they had already previously mentioned Sue and Al Sharpton and Ben Crump. And then all of a sudden, we didn't hear anything else about it because they already know. Ben Crump didn't defame them either. You know, Ben Crump is a lawyer, so why would he be stupid enough to go out there and defame someone? Why would he just blatantly accuse someone of something without having proof? They never, neither of the two of them ever accused anyone of anything. All they did was speculate like the rest of us are doing. See how they're just so ridiculous? Grasping at straws.
And lastly, since they want to talk about lawsuits, one of the things tying your morning together, Tiffany, they may come back, as you suggested, playing right-wing politics with this, with the local prosecutor, maybe even with the federal people. But if we have a change in January and there is a Democratic House, I said that if Hakeem becomes the speaker, he needs to have the chair of judiciary subpoena them to the Judiciary Department, testify. No, that's what this vote means. We need to have a check and balance of government so that we got somewhere to go. We can't depend to go to Trump's Justice Department. So we need to really mobilize so people like these two parents can protect their children.
Yeah.
And here's another.
Did you know there's a new AI tool that allows you to create AI-generated YouTube?
What was lied about by Al Sharpton, because according to the document in the suit, they're saying that it was not just 3 boys with Nolan alone. That was a lie. There was 30 people traveling together on.
See, now he's grasping at straws. So now he's trying to say that the lie was the fact that he was with 3 people. See, that's so stupid because he never said that he was just with 3 boys by himself. Nobody else was there. He didn't say that. He just said that 3 people were with him. Those 3 people were with him. Okay, so what is Tatum talking about? Let's continue.
3 boats. The letter says that Nolan was not on the same boat as Warren, Jax, or Morgan going out to the island. It claims roughly 2,000 people were on Horn Island that day, and in quote, at no time were they alone with Nolan.
Now, how does he know this? How does he know this? At no time were they alone with Nolan? Of course they were alone with Nolan at some point there. I'm pretty sure they're friends. What is he even talking about? He sounds ridiculous. And where's the proof? Where is the proof that at no time were they alone with Nolan? There's no proof of that, I'm sure. Okay, I'm sure there's no proof. See, this is what I'm saying. Everything that he's trying to allege, they can't prove any of it. And this is nothing more than scare tactics, trying to go for Al Sharpton so the rest of us will be scared and then we'll stop talking too. I'm not going to stop talking. F them. I'm going to say what I want. At the end of the day, they haven't proven a damn thing. The investigation is ongoing. They have not been cleared either. They have not been cleared. Okay, so until they are, people can speculate, and that's what we're going to do. Please sit down somewhere, Tatum. Just stupid self.
Also, here's some other timeline issues that I think that Al Sharpton clearly got wrong. I believe it was intentional, that Nolan stayed behind. They tried to act as if this was a lie. The team and the attorneys for the boys are making their definitive claim, and anything outside of this definitive claim is defaming or defamation towards them.
No, it isn't. No, it isn't. Not until it's been proven with rock solid, hardcore evidence what the exact timeline is. Just because the young men say one thing, notice he keeps calling them boys too. They're grown ass men. But just because they say a timeline and they give specifics or whatever doesn't mean that's concrete. So until a direct timeline has been established, you can't say that's a lie. Miss us with it.
Warren has made a statement on my interview, and he's also made an official statement through his lawyers that at 3 p.m., Warren says that he saw Nolan alive and well. That was the last time he saw Nolan with his physical eyes. At 4:28, 27
He said with his physical eyes. What other kind of eyes does he have? But that's a lie because he said that he last saw him at 3 o'clock. But he also said that his buddy was yelling for Nolan to get the F on the boats. And he was with that Katie girl. Isn't that what he said? So that was after 3 o'clock. And how do we know? Because Javon said that it was 3:40, approximately 3:40, when he was trying to help his friend, help with his friend who was involved in the fight, who was angry. That took about 15, 20 minutes. And when he came back, they were gone. But previously, they had been right there arguing, telling Nolan to get in the boat, according to Warren. Okay, and then they left shortly thereafter. So that was after 3 o'clock. That was after 3 o'clock because they made their phone call to Cito at about 4 o'clock. All right, shortly after they left the island. So please, Mr.
People
Smith.
departed without Nolan. The letter says that Nolan chose to remain with a young woman at the island, which is verified through text messages, verified through other people who all bear witness to them telling Nolan to get on the boat, and he never did. Here's a statement from them. Go back at the very bottom of this. It says Nolan chose.
Heard enough. I'm tired of listening to him. He's so stupid. Just utterly ridiculous at this point. Because he doesn't have any receipts. All he has to go on is what the boys told him. That's all he's going by. What the boys are saying. And he keeps acting like everything they said is the gospel. He's acting like everything that they tell him or anyone else is the truth. For 100% facts. No questions need to be asked. And that's ridiculous to me. Okay, that's ridiculous to me. He's painting narratives. Anyway, with that all being said, I'm out of here, beloveds. Okay, I'll be back later. Okay, everyone, please like, share, subscribe. Hold on. Let me just check something before I go. Oh, no. Let me just show you all this really quick. There was a video I saw. Here it is right here. Hold on. Let me just cue this really quick. Now, I want you all to listen because this guy right here is talking about Black folk. Basically saying we're the problem in the United States. I don't know how we're the problem, but let him cook. I want you all to hear this. Hold on. Take Brandon down. Okay, likes up, everyone, please like and share. Now listen to this fool.
Getting worse by the year. And by worse, I mean they're getting more bold with their schemes and their actions. I do find it pretty funny, though, when you have those interviewers on the street, they go up to a bunch of black people, they're like, you got 100 fish, and 13 of the fish cause half of the problems. What do you do with those 13 fish? Almost every time the black people say get rid of the fish. Black people, you're lucky we don't have the same mentality of you. Otherwise, y'all'd be gone.
So yes.
Now, let me just say this. First of all, here's what I want you all to pay attention to. When these racist maggots talk about black people, what they do is they create fake scenarios. There's no street people going around doing interviews asking black people, what would you do if you have 100 fish and 13 of those fish were a problem? Nobody's going around doing that. Nobody is, trust me. He's just made that up just to start the conversation to be racist. It's just like that day I showed you all the Karen who said, I'm a white woman. I just got out of the shower and shampooed my hair. But I was in a live last night with black women, and I literally let them take over the live. Y'all remember that? And then she went on to talking about how the black women were coming for her and all of this. And then, just trying to talk about she had real hair and all that stuff. First of all, those black women were not saying anything about her. She was such a non-factor. I was in that live. Nobody was thinking about her. Nobody was even talking about her. She just didn't like that they wouldn't allow her to paint her narrative that she was trying to paint about the Austin and Carmelo situation at the time. But then she gets on there and just makes it up. It's no different than the white lady who got on a live also and then made up a lie and said that black women are always coming for white women about their skin tone. And then she said, then she played that song just so she could say the N-word. Do you ever get tired of being a BA ninja. Y'all know the song I'm talking about. Do you ever get tired of being a BITCHASS ninja? She just wanted to say the ninja word. So she played that song and lip synced it. These people are obsessed with us, is all I'm saying. And at the end of the day, they just make up things to act as though we're the ones bothering them or obsessing over them. And the truth of the matter is, we don't think about them until they bring us into their conversation or until they just come up to us starting mess. But we so do not think about them ever. Okay, it's always the other way around. But listen to this woman, because she says that racism is nothing more than jealousy. And I've been telling you all that for years.
I was instantly infatuated and fascinated with Black people because I believe that they were God's favorite. God spent a little bit more time creating them and put a little bit more love into creating them. So yes, I believed they were the superior race. And going forward in life with that mentality, I just always loved Black people. I always wanted to be around them. I always just thought they were the coolest people. And I was fortunate enough to grow up in a fairly diverse area. So I had many Black friends. Most of my friends were Black or people of color. And I was very quickly exposed to Black music and Black talent. Something that my mom really instilled in me was that white people were racist. White people were jealous of Black people because they were so multifaceted and multi-talented. They could sing, they could dance, they can act, they could make a house a home, they can cook, they can clean. Like, there's literally nothing that Black people can't do. Like, they are multifaceted, they are multi-talented. And it made sense to me as a little kid that, that was what racism was. It was jealousy. Let's be real. Racism 100% stems from jealousy and envy. And just, I think personally, people who are racist usually have an insecurity within themselves that they have to spew this hatred onto to other people, because it just doesn't really make sense. Racism doesn't make sense in my eyes.
So I know this video right here has pissed a lot of people off on TikTok. And that gentleman, the first gentleman, I mean, he does similar videos, but I guess that was the one that got some traction, which they
Okay, I'm going to stop him because he's playing music now. He's doing too much. Okay, so now with that all been said, listen, I want you all to see this other video too, and then we're out of here. Hold on. I want you all to see this video about this nefarious Karen. This Karen, I don't know what her problem is. I don't know why she was mad and being so nasty and mean and disrespectful to this woman. All the woman was trying to do was get her receipt. But Karen just wouldn't let her get it, and she was going off on her. I hope that she's fired at this point. But she called the lady, well, I don't know if she called her anything, but she told the lady, get the F out of there. Okay, wait for it. Hold on, let me just pull this up. Now, I find it all interesting because who acts like this at their job? Girl, if you don't want to come to work that day, you should take the day off. I'm going to tell you like this. If somebody ever talks to me crazy while they're at work at their job, I'm going to get you fired. That's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm not going to engage you in a full-on physical altercation. I'm not going to be having a yelling match, cursing and screaming. I'm not doing any of it. I'm going to record the whole thing, and I'm going to get you fired. That's what I'm going to do, because that's the best. Okay, that's the best thing to do. Now, with that all being said, let's listen to this. Because all this lady was literally doing, like I said, was asking for her receipt.
So give me a receipt. There's no receipt on my account. You can get your receipt from Marriott. You are Marriott.
I am not Marriott.
Yeah, this is a Marriott property.
This is an AC hotel. Call Marriott support.
Yeah, exactly, Marriott. Can I have my receipt, please?
No, you may not.
You're going to take my money and not give me a receipt and then
You
cuss
can
at me?
get your receipt from
I did not
Marriott.
cuss at you at all. You're spewing profanities and you won't give me my receipt.
Ma'am, this behavior does not get you what you want in life. So it's your choice. Exit the premises willingly or by force.
Okay.
That's completely up
So
to you.
you're threatening me? I'm asking you for my receipt and I'm leaving. Can I have my receipt, please?
You can get it from Marriott, yeah.
Hey. Okay, so you guys charge me, but then give me a receipt. So where's my receipt? You guys treat me like crap. I'm like, how is this Marriott?
Ma'am, your reservation is your responsibility. You did not
Yeah, I
tell
paid
anybody.
in full. You guys
did
took
not
my
tell
money.
anybody that you weren't coming.
Okay,
and
I'm
so
not
now
gonna
you face
argue
the
with you. Just give me my
consequences of that.
receipt. What do you mean face the consequences?
That's what happens.
Like, this is what I'm saying. You're treating me like crap. When I paid in full,
What's the last name?
I'm a platinum member.
That doesn't.
I've been
mean
here
anything to me.
several
What's the
times
last name?
before. Like, I don't know why you're so like so hostile for no reason.
For calmly explaining you how it works.
No, you keep scolding me like, oh, you didn't do this. Like,
because
you know, any other hotel will check in on you or at least send you an automated message.
That's not true, actually. And I know that.
Well, I
you
say
spoke
hotels.
with the Marriott support team, and she told you that exact same thing. So I can.
Yeah, I
give you the
know.
receipt.
That's why I said I'm not doing business with Marriott anymore.
So because you didn't get the answer that you liked.
No, because I don't agree with these practices, being treated so poorly.
That's the practice at Hilton as well. I mean,
Look at you, you're
welcome
like,
to go.
No, that's not cool. Like, how are you in hospitality? Like, that's not how you treat somebody. So give me my receipt since you took my money. There's no
Go ahead and
receipt.
call security on you if that's how you're gonna act.
Give me
Mr.
my
Ross.
receipt. I'm asking you for my receipt. That's all I'm asking for.
And I'm
leaving.
asking you, what's the last name? Keep giving me attitude, and you're not gonna get either.
You were just talking to the person. It's Di Loretto. So give me my receipt, please.
You can go ahead and get your receipt from Marriott support when you call them again.
Can I have my receipt? You're taking my money, but you're not giving me my receipt. And I checked, it's not on my account.
Hi, this is Catherine here at the Westport AC Hotel. I have an unruly, she's not a guest, but we need somebody to escort her off the property.
Can I have my receipt, please?
Okay, we'll see you soon. Okay. You can either get the fuck out of my lobby now,
Excuse me?
or you can have Westport security escort you.
Are you seriously
I am dead serious.
cussing at me?
I am dead serious. Get the fuck out of my lobby.
What? Can I have my receipt,
Get
please?
the fuck out of my lobby since
me
it
my
wasn't
receipt.
clear. Okay, you can go ahead and have Westport security escort you out.
Give me my receipt.
You don't get everything that you want, sweetheart, when you act like this.
Like, when I act like what? You took my money, so give me.
Now, mind you, she said you don't get everything you want when you act like this. How is she acting? She's not being unruly. She's not using profanity. She's not talking loud. She's just asking for her receipt. This lady is a whole Karen.
Your receipt. There's no receipt on my account.
You can get your receipt from Marriott.
You are Marriott.
I am not Marriott.
Yeah, this is a Marriott property.
This is an AC hotel. Call Marriott support.
Yeah, exactly, Marriott. Can I have my receipt, please?
No, you may not.
You're gonna take my money and not give me a receipt and then
You
cuss
can get
at
me
me?
a receipt from
I did not
Marriott.
cuss at you at all. You're spewing profanities and you won't give me my receipt.
Ma'am, this behavior does not get you what you want in life. So it's your choice. Exit the premises willingly or by force.
Okay.
That's completely up
So
to
you're
you.
threatening me? I'm asking you for my receipt and I'm leaving. Can I have my receipt, please?
You can get it from Marriott, yeah.
Okay, you want me to call them?
Yeah.
Here, why don't you put them on speaker? That way we can both ask them, is your printer broken? Like, what's the problem?
No, you can go ahead and call them.
Can I have my
how are we
receipt,
doing?
please?
Good. What was the last name?
Let me have my receipt, please.
Again, security's on the way.
Because you won't give me a receipt?
Whatever you want to believe is the reason is totally fine.
Can you please give me a receipt? I'm just asking for a receipt.
That has not been what has been going on.
Yes, I've been asking you for a receipt this whole time and telling you how displeased I am.
Right, yeah.
Can you please give me a receipt?
Now, notice how she tried to lie when another customer walked up. When another customer walked up, the lady said, security's on the way. And then the client or the customer said, because you won't give me a receipt. And she said, well, if that's what you want to believe is the reason. Well, she knows that's the reason, but she didn't want the customer to know that she's been so damn petty just because the woman's asking for a receipt. Okay. And then she further goes on to say it's because of the way she's been acting. She hasn't been doing anything. Okay. And now security's going to come and escort her out.
No, I was here first. I need a receipt.
I'm helping him, so give me 1 second.
Okay. Just so you know, there's mice here. Yeah. and they cancel my reservation, they won't give me a receipt. Can I have she was just cussing at me. Can I have a receipt, please?
Ma'am, I have asked you to leave the premises multiple times
Can
now
I have a
because of
receipt,
your behavior.
please? What behavior? I'm asking you for a receipt. You took my money, so give me the receipt. I need the receipt.
Handle this with Marriott directly. We are done here. Hey, what's up? Can you leave this order off the property?
Sure. I would love to leave. I just need my receipt. She won't give me my receipt. You can get
Okay, they're not going to provide that to you. You're going to need to leave.
Why are you taking my money? You won't give me a receipt.
Hi, you're being trespassed from the property. You need to leave. You're going to go to jail.
For asking for a receipt.
You need to
That's
leave.
not why you're being trespassed.
Why am I being trespassed?
Because you have acted like a toddler since you got in here. Your reservation is your responsibility. You're upset because of the consequences of your inaction.
Okay, I'll leave, and I will ask for a receipt from Marriott because you took my money, but you won't give me a receipt.
And that's what I have told you.
And there's nice, great time. I'm Marriott Platinum.
I
You guys treat me like
wouldn't care
crap.
if we were gone at the Golden Gate time.
This lady is nasty. She was swearing at me
fine.
as a
You need to leave.
professional. Like, there are rats here, okay? Thank you. No problem with you. Thank you, dude. I'll get my receipt. She's so nasty. She's laughing at me. Oh my gosh, she's so nasty. All right.
Honey, that is all crazy. Okay, y'all hear it? That is absolutely crazy. Now, mind you, I hope she got fired. I would have gotten her fired that day. First of all, I would not have continually asked her for the receipt. After the first and second time she didn't give it, that's all I'm going to talk to you. I'm not going to stand here. And then she didn't know the lady was recording her either. That's why the footage wasn't really great, because she was discreetly recording her. She just doesn't know that she's recorded, so she's likely fired by now. Okay, at least I hope she is. Make it all make sense. Said the security guard didn't seem reasonable either. No, he didn't. He came in right away saying, you got to leave. Okay, not even letting her explain. Okay, Miss February says, Queen, blue is your color. You look nice. Thank you, beloved. I appreciate you. This is all crazy. Anyway, I'm out of here, folks. I'll be back later. Greta said after second. Hold on. Greta, did you say stop begging? Where's that comment? I literally just saw it. Anyway, he said something about you wouldn't have been begging. FYI, Marriott is owned by the Mormons. Not surprising. Oh, really? Okay. Well, anyway, like I said, I hope she got fired because that was bad for business. That was definitely not a good look. The lady wasn't being belligerent or anything. If she was causing a problem, I could see, but she wasn't. She's asking for her receipt. Now, I don't know why she didn't want to give it to her. Okay, maybe she was just in a bad mood. Stop payment on the bill. That's what Jerron said. You know, I was thinking that too, call and dispute it. But here's the thing. When she calls corporate and lets them know what happens, and also by the way that she has footage, they're going to give her a refund. That's what they're going to do. They're going to give her a refund, and then they're going to fire that lady. That's probably exactly what has already happened. Okay, so anyway, Y'all's Children says, well, I already read your comment, but Y'all's Children, thank you for your insight into the topic and your contribution, beloved. I appreciate your peace, love, and blessings. Okay, so anyway, I will see you all later. I hope you enjoy the rest of this beautiful day. Enjoy your strong end, not the weekend, leaving you in a weakened state of mind. Okay, and each one teach one. That's how we grow and thrive. Do something productive, constructive, and never destructive. And always remember, beloveds, to keep the Most High first in your lives. Peace.
Mississippi Delta, still crying the same tears. From Emmett to Nolan, how many more years? Copper blood in these waters, Most High see us here. Peace be still, but the truth gonna appear. Emmett Till, young boy whistling in the store. White lies turned to lynch and dragged him from the door. Beaten, shot river, swallowed him whole. Open casket, mama showed the world his soul. Nolan Wells, 18, boat ride on the 4th. Only black in the circle, now they say he drowned 4. Horn Island whispers, friends came back without him. Mississippi history, still hunting, still doubting. Same state, same pain, different name. Black boys lost in the Delta rain. When will it change? Lord, when will it change? Ancestors screaming, we never left this stage. 1955, Chicago boy down south for the summer breeze. Money, Mississippi, wrong place for a black team to breathe. Brian stole maybe a whistle, maybe just a smile. Jim Crow code broken, now they coming in the night. Wild Roy and Malone snatched him from his uncle's floor. Tortured that baby, fan tie round, body in the Tallahatchie roar. Mutilated face, mama said let the world see. Acquitted by all white jury, not guilty, set him free. Sparked the movement, Montgomery rose from the flames. But the Delta dirt still holding black boys' names. Emmett was 14, just a child in his prime, lynched for existing in a twisted mind. Emmett Till, knowing well, Delta shadows ringing bells. Black life cheap in these haunted lands. Most High coming with justice in his hands. 2026 July 4th, independence gone wrong. Broke the Horn Island with the crew, singing freedom songs. 18 years young, big heart, only copper in the mix. Friends white as the judge that let killers walk in 55. Disappeared that day, body found on the shore 2 nights later. They say drowning, no foul play, but the family know better. Question swimming deeper than the Gulf, water's cold. Why leave your phone? Why the silence from the foe? Mississippi again, history echoing loud. Ben Crump calling for truth, independent, autopsy proud. Was it accident or the past rising from the mud? Black boy with white friends, trust issues in our blood.
Why the same soil claim my sons? Ancestor never left. We still the chosen one.
From Till's open casket to Nolan's unanswered call. In time signs, Leviathan rising, watch the fall. No hate, just black love, we hold each other tight. But stop crashing out on each other and demand what's right.
Peace be still.
Through the storm we prevail.
Father's child.
We shall not fail. Both in Mississippi, Delta's cruel embrace. One lynched open, one body lost without a trace. Emmett's killers brag after the verdict came. Nolan's story fogged in speculation and shame. 14 or 18, young kings taken too soon. Waters claim the bodies, but the spirit touched the moon. Same fear, same doubt, same racist undercurrent flow. But we wiser now, cameras, voices won't let go. Indigenous copper, mountain builder stand tall. We walk together, ancestors answer the call. No more silent nights, no more cover graves. Justice for Emmett, justice for Nolan. Raise the blade. Hell no. But our spirit never failed. We got black love revolution now. Most High know my heart, make it right somehow.
Peace be still.
Peace be still. From Till to West, the story's still real. Let the world see, let the truth be free.